Hello, welcome to Walsall United WFC.
Good afternoon and welcome to the weekly wrap-up hosted by me, Gareth Townsend. Not my own this week. I have a guest with me, joined by Anthony. Anthony, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, and a familiar face for everyone, I'm sure. But no, I'm good. As you can tell, my voice is a bit iffy. I think I was a bit worried. I peaked a bit too early before the game actually started. But luckily, it came back. So I asked Craney if you could hear us, but because of the wall around it, you said it was hard to hear. But
yeah, drowned out by clappers.
Exactly. But the Leicester City players heard us because when I gave Hannah Kane banter saying thanks for coming and all that.
Yeah, no, we could hear you. Which is kind of depending on how many people were clapping with the clappers, but could definitely hear on there. Yeah, well, so we'll start with that actually. Obviously, the second weekend of WSL action has just finished. We'll start with the Manchester United versus Leicester City game. Obviously, if you want sort of in-depth, detailed match reaction, go back and check out last night's show. Anthony's on that as well. So, Anthony, what did you make of the game?
Well, it was a great game, great result. I was slightly worried when the unfortunate injury for Millie happened. I did worry a bit how would they react, because at the end of the day, they're only human and they're always going to have that in the back of their mind. And I was worried a little bit, like how would it affect them? And I think maybe for the first 5-10 minutes after that happened, they were a bit slow, a bit sloppy with the passes and that. But luckily, they managed to get out of that. Remember, they were in a game and had to be professional, even though their friend had a teammate had a bad injury. Tooney, obviously, she must have saw Bruno Fernandes's goal and thought, oh, anything Bruno Fernandes can do, I can do better. What a great goal. Keeper had no chance. And I felt after that we were in command. Obviously, the amount of chances we had, it could have been 6, 7. And that goes back to what we always discussed about clinicalness. But that's for another day. I was happy that Maria got her goal. It reminded me of a bit like a occasion of Ria Ferdinand's shot, where she just swung her left foot out and it went in. It was great, and it also for Martha Thomas to get her goal. So no, it was good performance. I don't really I wouldn't say anyone had a bad game. Even Mary. I can't remember if it was I think it was at 2-0 when she pushed that save to her right.
Great save from Molly Pike, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a great save. And then even the incident for the goal that was given now, you can see why they gave it, because Mary's hand was Mary was behind the ball, but
so having looked at the replays,
it looked like she had saved it. But then, well, if you've not got goal line technology, it's always going to be you're always going to get decisions go one way or the other. Sometimes they go for you, like they did with the Reading game, and other days they won't go. They go for you, and luckily, it didn't affect the result yesterday. And once they did score that goal, it didn't affect the performance either. We were pushing and pushing and pushing. My only slight nag was we would break, and then we would instead of taking them on and keep going and going, we sort of like put the brake on, and then that allowed Leicester to get back. Now, even though that happened, we still managed to create plenty of chances. And like I said, we should have put more away. I don't know what Jackie has to do to score. She must be thinking the same. But all in all, it was a great day out, a great result, and 6 points out of 6 is all you can ask for.
Yeah, I can't complain. I think, for me, I think Leicester looked pretty organised in defence until they weren't. I think for all 3 goals that United scored, I think Leicester will go away, look at it and go, we could have done this more. We could have closed Tooney down quicker. We could have dealt with the corner better, even though it was a great clearance from, I don't know if it was Perfield or Pike on the line, but one of them sort of got there and got it clear, but, didn't get to the second ball. And then for that third goal, I think it was unfortunate that Ashley Plumpton slipped. The ground had been watered quite a lot before, but just slipped. But even after then, there were chances to clear. I think Kirsty Lavelle had a really great game in goal. There's a couple of I think genuinely world class saves. The tipping owner's shot onto the post. Stanley's absolute. Yeah, great one from Leah. Came out a couple of times, was strong, committed and confident. So, I think she kept Leicester in it. And I think they'll be disappointed with the goals they conceded. But, at the end of the day, their season is not going to be defined by games against United and so on. I think they'll be more disappointed last week to have let a lead slip against Villa. But the West Ham game after the international break is important now. They go there, they get 3 points, then they go away to Man City in the FA Cup and a couple of good results there and the whole momentum shifts. So, I think they'll be fine. I think, they had enough about them. They attacked pretty well. Siggy caused problems. They were missing quite a few players as well. So obviously Hannah Kane was injured, or I assume she was injured. She wasn't in the squad. Sophie Barker, the captain, wasn't in the squad. So Connie Schofield still got to come back into that team as well. And Shannon O'Brien was missing again. So, they had, I think, 5 or 6 development players on the bench. So
one came on, didn't they?
Yeah, so Mackenzie Smith came on, 16, made a WSL debut as a holding midfielder as well, so I thought she had a good game. But yeah, I think Leicester, there's lots of positives for them to take from it. But like you say, United, if Lavelle wasn't playing as well as she did, could have conceded 5, 6, 7, or scored 5, 6, 7 rather. The telling thing for me was after that goal, I said to Matt, this could really change everything. This could really shift momentum. But United then just foot on the throat, killed the game off and made sure they won it. So managed the game really well, which was good to see. So we'll move on. We'll look at the teams of the week. So like to have a look at 2. One is from the WSL. So we'll start with that. Remember, this contains only WSL players and was picked by Casey Stoney this week. Has Spencer in goal from Spurs. Now, we will talk about that game shortly. Has Cuthbert at right back, Carter centre back, Zadorsky centre back from Spurs, Badier at left back, Cagman, G, Percival as the midfielders, with Mead in behind Toon and Kirby. Anthony, what do you make of that?
You're not going to keep everyone happy. I think the goalkeeper speaks for itself. If you only let 1 goal against City with the amount of chances they create, I know we talked about Kirsty Lavelle, but unfortunately for her, she still let 3 goals in. On a balance, the Cuthbert one, I didn't realise she played at right back, or was that just Casey's way of getting her in? I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't usually. I think she did kind of yesterday play sort of maybe as a wing back, but picked up the player of the match award for that game. So she had a good game, especially when Kirby and Kerr are sort of getting on the score sheet. Cuthbert did have a good game. The interesting thing for me, and I think this has been picked up on social media, is
not being in.
No Miedemar. I mean, I think Mead was good quality for that pick. She got the goal and 2 assists, whereas Miedemar sort of just got the 2 goals. So, on the balance of things, there's 3 goal contributions for Mead and only 2 for Miedemar. But you can make arguments for any of them really. It's a strong squad, and
I think they're probably thinking, well, why is Tooney in it? Then she only scored that 1 long range shot.
Yeah, possibly.
But like I said at the beginning, it's your team of the week. Everyone's going to have a different team of the week, and you're not going to keep everyone happy. And I don't know if you're going to touch on the WSL and a championship one, but there was another one, team of the week, and I think it was run by 2 Arsenal fans, and they were having to explain in the comments that we wanted to pick 2 Arsenal players, but we felt that these were the 2 that stand out more. I think it was Mead and Beattie, because they were going like, why is McCabe not in here? Why is Miedemar not in here? So it's always going to be, everyone's going to see things from a different light.
Yeah, so another team of the week. This one includes championship players. So this is from FAWSL Full Time. Their team of the week has Spencer in goal. So one of only 4 players to make both teams of the week. So Spencer in goal, then has a back 3 of Hill from Durham, Richards from Blackburn, and Thoris Dottir from Manchester United. Midfield 4 of Fran Kirby, obviously from Chelsea, Remy Allen from Villa, Kagman from Brighton, Watson from Sheffield United, and then the front 3 of Mead, Miedemar, obviously Arsenal, and Courtney Sweetman Kirk from Sheffield United. Now, we'll touch on the championship later, but yeah, just kind of give those teams the week to kind of get a balance there. Remy Allen in team of the week, 2nd goal, 2nd game of the season to rescue a point against West Ham. For me, I thought when West Ham took the lead, they'd be able to see that out, and I thought that would be a really great 3 points for them. I think they'll view that maybe as 2 points dropped. I said a couple of weeks ago, start the season, and last week as well, that I think a lot of West Ham's hopes this season are going to hinge on Adriana Leon, obviously coming back from the Olympics, gold medalist. If she has a good season, then I think West Ham will be okay. But I think a lot of it may hinge on her and how she performs. And for her to get on the score sheet, I think is definitely good for West Ham. Can get that little bit of confidence to come in. But fair play to Villa. They went for it and they kept going and they sort of fought to the very, very last minute. And Remy Allen again comes away and after scoring the winner against her former club last week, has got an equaliser this week against West Ham to sort of rescue a point. Who do you think is going to be the sort of happier of those 2 sides?
I think Villa. I know West Ham didn't win a single game at home last season, so I don't know if that's going to be a mental block or if the return of fans is going to help them finally get a result at home. But I think being away from home is always, I always think a point is it's a good point for Villa, the away. I think West Ham, they did well in the first half, but I was looking on Sky Sports because I was down at a town day, and when I was looking at it, it was just going Villa, got another chance. Villa have got this. It's a save by the West Ham keeper. And there was me going, I really want Villa to equalise because obviously of, I don't want to give too much away because obviously I have my show, which will return next week. So when Remy Allen did score, I was like, I'll get in. But we know Villa aren't going to give up. You only have to see from the first two games, Leicester, they were 1-0 down against Leicester, and they got them 2 goals in 2 minutes. So Villa are not going to give up, and I definitely think Villa will be the happier of the two.
Yeah,
I think West Ham might be more relieved because I did watch a bit of the game, and it was like a curse of the commentator's stats because they put a stat up saying West Ham haven't scored a goal in 600 minutes. 10 seconds later, Leon's put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I agree. I think Villa will probably be happier for being 1-0 down for so long to get a late equaliser. Moving on to Sunday's action, then obviously we touched on United, so we won't go back there. But the early kickoff came from Kingsmeadow. Obviously, Chelsea and Everton both coming off defeats last week to title contending sides. Obviously, Chelsea losing 3-2 against Arsenal at the Emirates, and Everton losing heavily to Manchester City at Goodison Park. Chelsea ran out 4-0 winners here. Goals coming from Frank Kirby, 2 for Sam Kerr, and Beth England sort of grabbing a 4th in the 79th minute. Interesting thing here, I think, was just how dominant Chelsea were. Now, I think I expected it after losing against Arsenal. I kind of thought Emma Hayes would get it into them this week in training, and they'd come out and they'd be relentless and they'd be attacking. But I didn't expect it to be sort of so dominant. Don't think 4-0 even reflects just how dominant Chelsea were. They could have been 4-0 up by half time, but at half time it was just the one. They came out quickly after the break and got that second and killed the game. But they were just relentless, like constantly. I think, Pernilla Harder could have scored a hat-trick and didn't even get on the score sheet. Kirby constantly causing issues. Sam Kerr getting the 2, and then Beth England sort of grabbing one at the end, sort of, being there quickest to react and right place at the right time. What were your thoughts? Obviously, Everton going to be really disappointed to come away from, the first 2 games of the season and bottom of the league on goal difference.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said. Chelsea were dominant and had so many chances. I can't even remember there really being any chances for Everton. That's how dominant Chelsea were. And you touch on not expecting them to score. I don't know if you meant you didn't see them scoring that many, Chelsea, or you were surprised they didn't score more, because I always felt that Chelsea would score at least 4. So to have scored 4 goals, it didn't surprise me, with it being at Chelsea's ground and the home fans back after so long. So it didn't shock me in that way. But when Chelsea are like that, it's so hard. You could say, well, Everton didn't bring anything. But if you're being dominated so much, then it is hard to get a foothold in the game. And yes, Everton didn't help themselves at times. Was it Finnegan?
The loose pass, for the second goal.
Gave it Sam Kerr. Thank you very much. That was effectively game over.
Yeah, I agree.
So, no, it was a dominant performance by Chelsea, and Everton. I think the thing is they bought so many people in the summer, so I don't know if it's a case of because they played Chelsea and City, and it was probably the worst time to play them, maybe because with having that many players, it's the gelling of the team. Maybe if they had played them in a few months, well, they will do in a few months' time, but maybe if they had their first game against them in a few months' time, then it might have benefited them in a way. But time will tell, and I do expect Everton will pick up points, and I don't expect them to be down the bottom. It's just how the fixture list went for them, unfortunately.
I agree. I think it was a really difficult start to the season for them, and I don't think, despite kind of what people said, they were ever really going to be title challengers. So to kind of lose those first 2 games against last season's top 2 isn't hugely unexpected. I think they'll be disappointed by the margin of defeat rather than the lack of points. To concede 9 in 2 games is really, really disappointing. So we'll move on then. So the other
Did you just say 9?
Was it? How many did they concede overall? Did they lose 5?
Eight. Did they not lose 4 to City?
Yeah, 4-0 last week, 4-0 this week.
Yeah.
So Birmingham did concede 5 against Brighton. Now, playing at St Andrews and conceding 5 goals. Again, I've said it a few times on this show now that conceding super early on, concede after 2 minutes, and then that just completely ruins any game plan. And I think Birmingham actually will be disappointed defensively for the majority of their goals, if not all of them. I think, Dan Carter's goal, I think Emily Ramsey shouldn't be beaten at a near post. So I think she'll be disappointed to have conceded that. But, Brighton looking strong. Top of the table now. I know we're only 2 games in, but they're setting the pace and they're getting wins early and points on the board. And it's good to see Hope Powell kind of starting to achieve some things there. Whether they can hang around there or not, when they face some sort of higher quality opposition, but we'll definitely see. But it's good to see Brighton doing well, and I think Birmingham. I think we've said before they're going to struggle this season. I think this result has just kind of demonstrated why they're relegation favourites. I think they were relegation favourites last year. Carla Ward did a fantastic job with them to secure safety, but she's gone. They've lost a lot of players as well, and so I think they're definitely going to be favourites for the chopping block. Now we'll move on because there's a couple of games more in the WSL before we get to Championship that I want to talk about. We'll go to Reading first, who got beaten 4-0 by Arsenal. Jen Beattie scoring from a corner after 17 minutes. And then the Mead-Miedemar connection started. Obviously, Beth Mead scored a great finish to make it 2-0. And then a couple of minutes later, linked up with Viv Miedemar to make it 3. And then not long after the break, again, the Mead to Miedemar to make it 4. Obviously, Beth Mead made both teams of the week. 3 goal contributions. Easy to see why. I think she was the best player on the pitch last week against Chelsea, and she had another blinder this week. Obviously, had been in and out of the England squad over the last sort of few months, but has got a place back now. I think, and starting the season really, really strongly, and things seem to be clicking with Jonas as the coach and linking up really well with Miedemar. Obviously, you've got Nikita Paris on that side as well, who I don't think who didn't start yesterday, and neither did Iwabuchi, but still able to get the results. And obviously Tobin Heath still to come into that attacking lineup as well. Arsenal came 3rd last year. Do you think they can go any better this season based on early season form?
Yeah, definitely. To beat Chelsea is no mean feat. I know certain things happened, and I think you want to discuss that in a bit, so I won't mention about what. But yeah, with the attacking quality they've got, why can't they challenge the likes of City and Chelsea? Yeah, Chelsea might have more depth, and City are out of the Champions League, but City have got a pretty hefty injury list at the moment. Now I know they should be able to cope with it at City, but it doesn't always work like that. And as we found out last year with United, who didn't have so much squad depth, but it definitely can play a part in. And you want to get off to a good start, and they've got off to the best start they could. The experts have had Arsenal as third favourites, but I feel it will be one of them three. You can never write any of them three out. Yeah, you can have your favourites and that because they got this and that. But if you keep winning your games, then they're not going to catch you. And beating the likes of Chelsea and City and even Manchester United, I know you've got to beat all the lower league games as well, but they are the games where, unfortunately, at this level, is normally going to determine who will win that league. Because if you lose a couple of them, like if you lose to City, say twice, and then you only get beaten by Chelsea once, with the quality of them, the lower teams like Birmingham, West Ham, and Tottenham. I know Tottenham got a brilliant result, and we'll discuss that in a minute, I'm sure. But you just need to have them points against the top teams, because you fully expect against the likes of Birmingham that it's a no-brainer, basically 3 points. But Arsenal will be up there, and it's a long season to go. Things can happen, injuries, so early days. But yes, they'll definitely be up there, Arsenal.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if they keep players fit, then I think there's no reason why they won't be up there thereabouts at the top. So the big talking point from the weekend's action came in the late game yesterday. Manchester City at the Academy Stadium, unbeaten in something like 33 home games. Gareth Taylor only lost one WSL game since he took over from Nick Cushing until yesterday, where Manchester City won, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Spurs. They dug in, they defended well. Spencer had a great game in goal, and they had, I think, one real big opportunity in the second half, which Williams scored, which allowed them back into it. Obviously, Lauren Hemp 6 minutes in, turning in Alex Greenwood's corner, left completely unmarked. Was able just to completely break free the defence, and it was that wasn't great defending from Spurs. And I think when that first goal goes in, Hemp scores after 6 minutes, you think this is going to be they're going to go on and they're going to do an Arsenal, they're going to do a Chelsea, and they're going to score a load. Yeah. Obviously, worth mentioning, after 10 minutes, Esme Morgan picked up a shin injury, I think it was, and ended up being stretchered off. I think slightly harsh on the referee to give her a yellow card while she's being loaded onto a stretcher. But these things happen, and the foul's foul. But I think at that point you think City are going to go on here and they're going to smash it. But Spurs dug in, defended well, but City didn't take the chances. You had Georgia Stanway kind of dancing around the box and hitting the post. You had Hemp put a great ball across that Janine Becky couldn't quite get to to score. There was another opportunity. I'm not sure if it was a 1-0 still or 1-1, where Becky was kind of open by the back post, but just couldn't get the shot on target. And there was a number of these chances, but none of them went in. Obviously, Spurs got their equaliser, and then after 86 minutes, there was the Benamur own goal, which cross comes in and it comes off Ayane's hand into Steph Horton's arm, into the post, and then off Benamur's knee and into the net. Now, obviously, this goal shouldn't have stood. And I think it's unforgivable really for the referee to not notice this. There's a referee there, there's an assistant referee at the side, and no one noticed this ball came off the hand. So that's obviously disappointing to see, and we'll touch on that again shortly. But I think Gareth Taylor in his post-match interview said that they had opportunities to kill the game, they had opportunities to go and win the game before that even was a factor. So, although they lost the game because of a goal that shouldn't have been given, but they didn't win the game because they didn't take their chances. What, obviously, going out of the Champions League in midweek to now losing against Spurs, what's happening? What's wrong with City at the moment?
Well, it could be a number. I don't know. It could be a number of factors. I know I've touched the injuries, but it's City. I feel like they should have a strong enough squad to be able to cope with them injuries. Yeah, I know they're missing one of the best right backs and Lucy Bronze in the world, and yeah, anyone's going to miss her. I don't think anything majorly is going wrong with City. I don't know. They're creating chances and that. And you saw last week they put four behind Everton, so I don't feel like there's anything majorly wrong. Obviously, they'll be bitterly disappointed they got knocked out by Madrid in the Champions League and they lost to Tottenham. And like I've discussed, yeah, they've got injuries, but I feel with the quality of their squad, I feel that they have Ellen White, Janine Becky, Lauren Hemp, all them players, Georgia Stanway, still. So they have enough quality on the pitch. It was just purely they just didn't take their chances, and we've seen it with us, Man United, before. We most notably probably the Bristol City game at LSV in our first season before COVID. So long ago now, it was the season before COVID, that if you don't put your chances away, it only takes one moment and they scored. So, and we touched on this in the review. Like, yes, it was brilliant that we scored all them goals, but against the likes of Chelsea, City, and Arsenal, you're not going to get that many chances. So you need to be clinical, and I just feel City just weren't clinical yesterday, but I don't know if I can't see it being anything to do with the manager. Obviously, I haven't heard any things on Twitter, because you normally do get whispers on Twitter, but maybe you might know a bit more. But I don't think it's to do with the manager or anything. I just think,
yeah, there were rumours after the Real Madrid game that Gareth Taylor had fallen out with Steph Horton and Ellen White.
Didn't Kennedy say? I read something. Kennedy said something. Someone put on Twitter, I hope Kennedy's not been dropped because she went to Gareth Taylor, said a word, but I can't remember what the word was now.
Not sure.
No,
but I think the thing is, we're right. They do have injuries. I think at the moment they're missing Roebuck, Bronze. Then Kira Walsh is injured. Obviously, Hayley Rasso's picked up a knock. Caroline Weir's picked up a knock. Chloe Kelly still injured from last season. Esme Morgan now as well. So, you're looking at probably 6 players that could start week in, week out. And then Esme Morgan as well, who had been playing right back as backup to Bronze after she picked up an injury. So there are a lot of injuries, but like you say, they have the quality from 1 to 11 to go out there and win these games, but just didn't take the chances. They could have scored 5 goals yesterday easily if they'd taken all their chances, and then the handball goal doesn't play a factor. But we'll touch on that. Obviously, last week.
Sorry, you say Rosso picked an injury up?
Yeah, Hayley Rasso picked up an injury.
Oh, okay, because I got confused with the Australian players. It was Rosso that apparently had said something to Gareth Taylor. I saw on someone's Twitter feed, so I was wondering. Oh, okay.
So we'll talk about referees. I know it's a subject that you adore. Obviously, last week, again, in the United Reading game, there was a goal not given. I don't know if it crossed the line. I'm not sure it did. Yeah. I was watching on TV because I was at home, and you couldn't really tell there. Obviously, in the United game yesterday, Abby McManus's goal was close. Again, I think it may have crossed the line just because of when you look at the still. Mary's diving right back into her goal to save it. So whether it was over the line or not, I think it may have been, but it's difficult to tell. Then decisions for me, I think, we don't have goal line technology, and it's not going to get implemented because not all the grounds are suitable for it. So, with it being all or nothing, it's not going to happen, which is fine. I don't think necessarily that goal line technology is necessarily the priority. I think those goals, the referee has a split second to make, and without goal line technology, it's going to be impossible to get it right 100% of the time. So that's not the massive issue for me. The issue is we saw last week on Sky, Beth Mead clearly offside for Arsenal's 3rd goal. Obviously, the game they won 3-2.
Yeah,
and then the winner for Spurs this week, clearly handball from the Spurs player in the build-up to that. Neither of these goals should have counted. But yet here we are 2 weeks in, 2 weeks on Sky, and we've seen 2 decisions where, with VAR, and I don't think we need to bring VAR into the women's game. I think the issue is generally more of refereeing than it is of the lack of technology. But already into the season, we're having these conversations in the second week, and it's not what we want to see. Do you think that what's the solution here? Because obviously, if you put money into referees, it's going to take a few years to see that progression.
And they're meant to be putting money into the referees. They're meant to have that. Is it PGMOL boss or
PGMOL? Yeah.
So, like you said, yeah, it's going to take a few years, but it's a difficult one. There is a problem. We can quite see it. Some of the decisions are so bad that I think even a referee at county level would quite clearly see that was a handball or that was offside. With the offside, you can see this is the thing as well with the lines officials. They're not always. I don't know if it's because they're just not quick enough or suffer from fitness, but they don't always seem to be up with play. And it was a bit like, I know we can't, with the goal line technology, yeah, you're not worried about that. And yes, there's a lot to be done with professional refereeing and these decisions that are so blatantly obvious to be sorted. That is the priority. We want the women's game to be bigger and better, and that. So they're just it's like the Zelen one we had a couple of seasons back where it hit ahead. Maybe they've changed. Maybe with WSL refs, they're taught that if it hits your face, then that's your hand, and if it hits your hand, that's technically your head's. Obviously, it's not. But 2 weeks in, we want to be talking about the football, and like you said, Sky have had three. I know the Goalline Technology one, but they've had three on Sky now. That obviously the Reading, was it over? I think, like you said, that one was hard to give. I think what made their mind up that it wasn't a goal was the way the ball sort of bounced.
Yeah, bounced right out.
Yeah, and I think that's what made their mind up that it didn't. But with the offside decision, it wasn't even marginal. It was so far offside. And we talk about beating teams. And can you imagine if Chelsea, I know the problem is it'll probably balance it out because of this levels of refs. But can you imagine Chelsea now don't win the league?
Yeah, or they lose it like by a point.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. They lose it by a point, and that point. So it definitely needs to be addressed. I hope they get there eventually. But like you said, it's money. They need the training. But we say they need the training. I don't think you need to be trained in that situation. You're an official, and yes, you're not professional, but everyone knows what offside is. Everyone knows what a handball is, and it wasn't like even the box was congested for the handball. It wasn't. She had a perfect position to see it. The linesman woman official, I think she was a bit behind play, but you surely still could have seen clearly that Beth Mead was offside. So it's them obvious ones that they need to be gone, and I think the training will only help so much.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the WSL. We'll quickly run through the table before we move on to the Championship briefly. Brighton lead the way from Arsenal, Manchester United and Spurs, all on 6 points. Obviously, Brighton, Arsenal, United are the teams in the Champions League. Aston Villa in 5th, with Chelsea and Manchester City 6th and 7th on 3 points. West Ham 8th with 1 point. Then you've got Leicester 9th, Birmingham 10th, Reading 11th, and Everton currently propping the table up bottom of the league. So move on to the Championship. What we'll do here is I'll go through the results of most of the games and then we'll touch on our kind of feature game for the week in a little bit more detail. So Durham bounced back from defeat last weekend to beat Charlton Athletic 2-0 at home. Hill getting the goal early on before Heppel sealed the deal from the spot. Obviously, Durham looking to bounce back from defeat, and Charlton were looking to kind of continue momentum after beating Coventry last week. But obviously, it was Durham here that got the win to get their 6 points. Blackburn and Watford both losing last week, but it was Blackburn here back at home who came out with a 3-1 win. Richards, Fenton and Blanchard with the goals to go 3-0 up before Fatuga Dada got one back for Watford. So Blackburn, I thought could potentially struggle, but seemed to have got a couple of good wins early on. Sheffield United away from home beat Coventry 3-0. Watson opened the scoring before Courtney Sweetman-Kirk scored a brace. And it was 3-0 before half-time, and that kind of killed the game, really, for Coventry. I thought that at the start of the season that they would look good. They'd be kind of one of the favourites for the title, if not, the favourite for the title. I pegged them to win. Yet to pick up a point, so not going too well there in terms of kind of what I thought. Obviously, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk getting 2 goals. So if you've not seen Nats sit down with Courtney, please go and check that out. Lewis losing last week, but were able to beat London City, who have won their first 2 games, and I think will be up there. They're up there or thereabouts. An early goal from Umatong was the decider there in that game at the Dripping Pan. And Liverpool against Bristol City finished 0-0. Both sides ended up with 10 players on the pitch because of second yellow cards. But a clean sheet for Fran Bentley whilst on loan, making some great saves there. But the game I want to kind of focus on came from Selhurst Park. Her first goal for Palace, third of the way through the game, but they weren't able to hold on. Sunderland get the equaliser, and the game finishes 1-1, I think, despite Palace being the better side and despite Palace having more of the opportunities. But we now see, after 3 games heading into this international break, newly promoted Sunderland are top of the pile on 7 points. So they're there, not on goal difference, but they're there on merit. Anthony, you've seen the highlights from this game. What was your takeaway from it?
Yeah, you pretty much touched on it. I thought at first, who was it? Palace, they were creating loads of half chances, as well as Sunderland. And as I watched it, I could see that Palace were creating more chances, and that obviously being at Selhurst and having the crowd, they would have been up for it. Obviously, the highlight clip just shows you the best of the chances, and I feel there was quite a lot of chances that were just comfortable. But I think if I remember rightly, the Palace goal was a bit of a scrappy one, and then obviously it could have went either way. I do think on the balance, to me, when I watched the highlights, it Palace may have just swayed it, but from what I saw, I thought, well, either team could have won. I wouldn't say the chances that were created were like gilt-edged chances. They were like a couple of free kicks straight at the keeper and a couple of long-range shots straight at the keeper, and then there was a bit of pinballing around for Palace's goal that they couldn't clear. I can't remember Sunderland's goal too much, but over watching the highlight, I think I would have said a draw was a fair result.
Yeah, no, I think it was as well on the balance of things. And I think Sunderland, after coming up, I wasn't really sure how they'd respond, and they've done well. And like I say, they sit top of the pile. So just run through the table there. Sunderland obviously top on 7 points. And then we've got Sheffield United, Blackburn Rovers, Durham, and London City after 3 games, all on 6 points from second down to 5th. Then you've got Crystal Palace, Bristol City, and Liverpool, all on 4 points after their 3 games. Charlton and Lewis, 9th and 10th with 3 points each. They've only both played 2 games. Their first game of the season, was called off because of COVID. Watford are 11th, yet to pick up a point, but Coventry United are bottom, yet to pick up a point, yet to score from open play. Their only goal this season coming directly from a Molly Green corner. So it'll be interesting to see where those guys pick up after the international break. So before we finish up, I'm just going to go through the scores from the National League. Obviously, again, we focus on the North. If you want to kind of follow stuff from the Southern divisions, since 71's coverage of the National League South and National League Division 1 South is excellent. So check those out. Different this week, it was a cup weekend, not the FA Cup. That kind of happened separately, but that was kind of a long way down the pyramid. This is the National League Cup, so the equivalent of the Continental Cup for the WSL and the Championship, with the winners. So it's like a sorting round. The winner of these ties goes to the National League Cup, and the loser of these ties, I believe, go into the National League Plate. So it kind of determines which of the cups they're going to go into. So Brighouse Town beat Holwell Sports 4-1. There's quite a lot of high-scoring games here. Derby County beat Lincoln City 7-0. Fylde beat FC United 9-0. Huddersfield Town beat Boldmere St Michael's 7-2. And Burnley away from home also beat Hull City 7-2. Loughborough Lightning beat Donny Bells 2-1. Sheffield FC beat Bradford City 1-0. Stoke beat Solihull Moors 7-0. And West Brom took Middlesbrough to extra time before winning 3-2. And Wolves, who are currently in a title race with Fylde, beat Leeds United 3-1. No real shocks there, I think, but apart from one fixture, Nottingham Forest, third in the Northern Premier Division, lost 1-0 to Liverpool Feds, who are in the Northern Division 1, so a league below, but were able to get the upset against Nottingham Forest to make it through. Obviously, we'll see kind of what happens there and with the cup competitions, but the league should be kicking off soon. There is a break next week in the National League as well, so no game of the week for me for next week. So that's it. That's the weekend's action. So we'll draw the show to a close there. Just to say there will be no show next week, obviously with the international break. There's no club action to round up on Tuesday lunchtime. Anthony, I believe there is a short break for your show as well.
Yes, indeed.
So
the week after.
There we go. So make sure you tune in this evening. Myself and Matt were joined by a couple of very special guests. So make sure you tune into that to have a look at and see who that is and check that out. Obviously, Nat's show is tomorrow before the main show is back Thursday. Any questions, check out the
anniversary Thursday as well.
Exactly. It's the 1 year anniversary show Thursday. So please do check that out. And obviously all the information is on the schedule. Anthony, thanks for joining me this afternoon.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And we'll catch you all soon.